For decades, Alan Jackson stood as one of country music's most unshakable voices, a man whose songs seemed to carry the heartbeat of small towns, Sunday mornings, and love that never faded. Fans believed they knew his story, every lyric, every smile, every heartfelt performance. But behind the spotlight and the timeless melodies, there was something Alan rarely spoke about, something quietly unfolding while the world kept cheering. In recent years, whispers began to surface. Observant fans noticed moments on stage, a subtle shift in balance, a slower step, a brief pause that seemed out of place. But most brushed it off. After all, legends don't falter. Yet, Alan's truth was far more human than anyone realized. Now, that truth has finally been shared, and it's left millions emotional, reflective, and filled with newfound respect. What many thought was just another chapter in his career turned out to be a powerful revelation, one that redefines everything we thought we knew about him. This is not a story about fame or awards. It's about a man whose strength goes beyond the microphone, a story of resilience, faith, and honesty that has turned fans into family. Today, we're looking deeper into the quiet struggles behind the spotlight, the courage it took to speak up, and the love that continues to lift him higher than ever before. Because Alan Jackson's journey isn't just music, it's a reminder that even legends carry battles we can't always see, and it's in facing them that their true greatness is revealed. But before the world learned about his health battle, the signs were already there, hiding in plain sight. Let's go back to where it began. The hidden battle fans overlooked. For years, Alan Jackson's performances felt effortless, a voice smooth as southern honey, a presence that filled stadiums, and songs that painted pictures of life's most honest moments. But behind those legendary shows, subtle clues were beginning to emerge. Some fans noticed how, in recent tours, Alan occasionally leaned for support or paused slightly longer between songs. Others recalled seeing him hold onto a microphone stand more tightly than before. It wasn't dramatic enough to raise alarms, just small moments, easily dismissed as fatigue or age. Still, for those who knew him best, something deeper seemed to be unfolding. There was a quiet determination in the way he walked across the stage, a hint of effort behind what once looked effortless. But Alan never addressed it publicly. He continued smiling, performing, and giving everything to his audience, keeping his private struggles far from the spotlight. That's what makes this story so powerful. Because while fans were celebrating his voice, his hits, and his legacy, Alan was silently carrying a burden, one that would eventually come to light in a way no one expected. Every show, every note, every standing ovation became part of a journey that wasn't just about music anymore. It was about courage, the kind that doesn't ask for attention but quietly fights through the pain to bring joy to others. And as the signs became harder to ignore, Alan made a choice. Instead of letting rumors grow or fans wonder, he decided to speak his truth, a revelation that would shock many and inspire even more. When the truth comes out, when Alan Jackson finally opened up, the world listened. In a heartfelt interview, he revealed that he had been living with Charcot-Marie tooth disease, a rare nerve condition that affects movement, balance, and muscle strength. For many fans, it was the first time they'd even heard of it. But for Alan, it was a reality he'd been quietly managing for years. His confession wasn't dramatic. It wasn't framed as a tragedy. It was simply honest, the kind of truth that mirrored the authenticity he's always shown in his music. He explained how the condition made performing more challenging, how every step on stage now required careful focus, and how, at times, he worried fans might misunderstand his movements. But what stood out most was his attitude. Alan didn't see it as the end of his career, only as a new chapter. "It's part of my life now," he said, "but it doesn't define me." That strength resonated deeply with fans. Within hours, social media was filled with love, prayers, and gratitude. People from all over the world shared messages saying how his honesty gave them courage to face their own struggles. Many who battled similar conditions said they finally felt seen. In that moment, Alan's story became bigger than country music. It became a message of hope, proof that even the strongest voices can face hardship and still stand tall. But to truly understand why this revelation touched so many, we have to remember what made Alan so beloved in the first place. The music, the message, and the man who brought it all to life. The voice that defined a generation. Long before headlines about health or struggle, Alan Jackson had already carved his name into the soul of country music. His songs weren't just hits, they were hymns of everyday life. Remember, when? Chattahoochee. Where were you? When the world stopped turning. Each track carried pieces of his heart and echoes of a nation's emotions. He never chased trends. While the music world shifted toward pop and glamour, Alan stayed rooted in truth. Songs about faith, love, loss, and the beauty of simple living. That authenticity made him stand out, not just as an artist, but as a storyteller who spoke for millions who didn't have the words. Fans didn't just listen, they felt. Couples danced to his music at weddings. Families leaned on his lyrics in moments of grief. His voice became a bridge connecting generations, reminding people of their roots and offering comfort through melody. So when the news of his health surfaced, it wasn't just about sympathy, it was personal, because his songs had been there for them in their hardest times. And now they wanted to be there for him. And behind those songs, behind every lyric and chord, was a life shaped by humble beginnings and deep values. To understand the strength in his voice, we need to look back to where it all started. Family, faith, and the man behind the music. Alan Jackson's journey began in the small town of Noonan, Georgia, a world away from fame and flashing lights. He grew up in a modest home, surrounded by gospel music, Sunday church services, and the steady rhythm of Southern life. It was there that he learned the values that would later echo through his music: honesty, humility, and faith. From those early days, music was never about fame. It was about expression, storytelling, and connection. When Alan married his high school sweetheart, Denise, she became not just his partner in life, but also a guiding force in his career. Together, they built a family rooted in love and loyalty, the same themes that filled his songs. Throughout his rise to stardom, Alan never lost sight of where he came from. His lyrics often reflected his personal journey, the joys of fatherhood, the pain of loss, and the comfort of faith. Songs like Drive and Small Town Southern Man weren't just creative works, they were windows into his soul. Even as fame grew and awards piled up, Alan remained grounded. Friends and peers often describe him as humble and kind, a man more interested in sharing truth than chasing spotlight. And now, as he faces new challenges, those same values continue to carry him. His faith gives him strength, his family gives him purpose, and his honesty gives hope to everyone watching. But this story is far from over. Because even as the world learned of his hidden struggle, Alan continued to do what he's always done: stand tall, sing with heart, and prove that true legends are defined not by what they face, but how they rise through it. And the next chapter of his journey, the way he turned struggle into strength, would only deepen the world's admiration for him. When strength through struggle. As Alan's truth came into the open, fans began to see his performances in a new light. Every step across the stage, every chord strummed, every heartfelt lyric, they all carried more weight now. What once looked effortless was revealed to be the work of a man pushing through invisible barriers, determined to keep giving his all no matter what stood in his way. Instead of stepping back, Alan chose to keep moving forward. He continued to tour, record, and connect with his audience, even when the challenges became clearer. Fans who watched him live after his revelation described his shows as more emotional than ever. They could feel the strength behind each note, the gratitude in every smile, and the silent courage in every stride. In moments when most would have chosen to slow down, Alan showed that true greatness isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. He turned what could have been a setback into a powerful message: that passion and purpose don't fade in the face of adversity. This resilience reminded many of the themes that have always defined his music: faith, endurance, and the beauty of staying true to yourself no matter what. And as fans watched him face this new chapter, They began to rally around him in ways he might never have imagined. What started as sympathy grew into a movement of love, gratitude, and collective strength. Because while Alan was giving his all to his audience, now his audience was ready to give back. And that's when something remarkable began to unfold. A wave of unity that stretched across states, countries, and generations. When fans unite in support. When the news of Alan's condition spread, fans didn't hesitate. Social media feeds filled with messages of love and encouragement. Hashtags honoring him began trending, and videos of his past performances resurfaced as people revisited the moments that had touched their lives. It wasn't just admiration, it was personal. Fans shared stories of how Alan's songs had carried them through breakups, family losses, and moments of doubt. Couples recalled dancing to his music at their weddings. Parents spoke of passing his albums down to their children. Each story echoed the same truth. Alan's music had become part of their lives. And now, as he faced his own challenges, they wanted him to feel that same strength reflected back. Some organized tribute projects, fan videos, digital collages, and heartfelt letters expressing gratitude. Others pledged to attend every upcoming concert, seeing each show as a chance to celebrate not just an artist, but a man who gave them comfort when they needed it most. Beyond the emotion, there was a powerful sense of protection. Fans urged the media to treat his story with compassion, reminding everyone that behind the legend was a person who deserved respect and privacy. What made this response even more remarkable was its reach. Messages came from across the globe, from Nashville to New Zealand, showing that Alan's influence stretched far beyond the borders of country music. And as this global wave of support grew, the music industry took notice. Fellow artists, critics, and producers began adding their voices to the chorus of love, recognizing not just the challenge Alan was facing, but the monumental legacy he'd already built. When the industry responds, the love from fans was soon echoed by voices within the industry, the very people who understood just how much Alan Jackson had shaped the sound and soul of modern country music. Veteran artists spoke first, sharing memories of touring alongside him, praising his authenticity, and acknowledging his role as a torchbearer for traditional country. They admired not just his artistry, but his courage to stay true to himself when so many were tempted by trends. Younger stars, many who grew up singing his songs, credited Alan as a guiding light. They talked about learning the power of storytelling through his lyrics and the importance of humility through his example. For them, his openness about his health was not a sign of weakness, but a lesson in strength and vulnerability. Critics, too, began reflecting on his career with new perspective. They called him one of the last great purists, a man whose songs carried timeless values and who never sacrificed honesty for fame. His revelation, they said, only deepened the respect he already commanded. Producers and collaborators who'd worked closely with him spoke about his discipline, his kindness, and his unwavering focus on the music itself. Many admitted that now, knowing the battles he faced behind the scenes, they viewed those recording sessions with even more admiration. And across all these voices, one theme stood out. Alan Jackson isn't just a legend because of his awards or sales. He's a legend because of his heart, because he showed that true artistry comes from authenticity, and true strength comes from honesty. But beyond the praise and tributes, there's something even more lasting, a renewed understanding of what it means to be an artist and a human being who faces life's storms with grace. And that brings us to the heart of this story, what Alan's journey means for all of us. A legacy written in courage. Alan Jackson's story is more than music. It's the story of a man who rose from small-town beginnings to become one of the most cherished voices in country history, and who, even when faced with hidden battles, chose honesty, strength, and love over silence. His journey reminds us that legends aren't defined by the challenges they face, but by how they rise through them. For decades, Alan gave the world songs that healed, inspired, and united. And now, the world is giving back with gratitude, admiration, and unwavering support. Every performance, every lyric, and every smile carries new meaning now, because we see not just a performer, but a man walking in faith. Someone who proves that authenticity will always outshine perfection. His revelation didn't end his story. It deepened it. It turned fans into family and transformed admiration into love. And as he continues this journey, one truth remains clear. Alan Jackson's legacy isn't just written in gold records, it's written in the hearts of millions. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite Alan Jackson song? And how has his music touched your life? Share your thoughts, your memories, and your messages of support in the comments below. Let's fill this space with love, gratitude, and the stories that show just how far his music has reached. Because while his voice may carry the melody, it's your voices, together, that carry his legacy forward.